welcome everyone to the next Inspired Tribe webinar. I'm really happy to be back after the summer. And this time the webinar will be slightly different to what I've been doing so far. Before I focused mainly on food as medicine and how we can treat our bodies by eating the right things. And this has been a passion of mine for over 7 years now. And I've sort of diversified a little bit recently, and I got very interested in the human electromagnetic field, the quantum physics, and how thoughts and emotions actually affect our reality and our health. So it's going to be very interesting. And as I said, I was a skeptic myself, and it was very difficult for me to actually believe how emotions and thoughts affect our body and how they have impact on diseases that we might have. So let's make a start. So I will cover how thoughts and emotions actually impact the biochemistry on our body and the frequency of thoughts and emotions on an energetic level in the body. So I will cover real basics of quantum physics. So don't be scared. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I'm actually not an expert, but I think I understand enough. I will also talk about the source of EMF fields, electromagnetic fields in our environment, and how we can protect ourselves, the science of grounding and earthing, and tons of practical tips of how we can actually raise our frequency, our emotional state, which will actually impact our health in a very positive way. And then we can have a discussion after. So emotion is an energy in motion. This is as simple as that. And negative emotions can create nervous system chaos, but positive emotions actually do the opposite. And I will talk about the coherence later on. So positive emotions can increase the brain's capacity to actually make good decisions. And it can boost our immune systems because the thoughts have huge physiological impact on our bodies. And I will talk also about the magnetic fields that our bodies are creating, and we can detect them several meters away from our body. I will play a short video, about four-minute video now. Some of you are familiar with the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. I've extensively studied his teachings. I also did his progressive one-week workshop in Dubai this year, and it was incredible, absolutely life-changing. So I have a lot of respect for the work of Dr. Joe. So I will share with you how he sees the link between emotions and health. And then if you want to study that more, I can send you more links about this. So there you go. I hope you can hear the sound.
It's a scientific fact that the hormones of stress downregulate genes and create disease, long-term effects. Human beings, because of the size of the neocortex, we can turn on the stress response just by thought alone. We can think about our problems and turn on those chemicals. That means then our thoughts could make us sick. So if it's possible that our thoughts could make us sick, is it possible then our thoughts could make us well? And the answer is absolutely yes. All organisms in nature can tolerate short-term stress. You know, a deer gets chased by a pack of coyotes. When it outruns the coyotes, it goes back to grazing and the event is over. And the definition of stress is when your brain and body are knocked out of balance, out of homeostasis. The stress response is what the body innately does to return itself back to order. So you're driving down the road, Someone cuts you off, you jam on the brakes, you give them the finger, and then you settle back down and the event is over and boom, now everything's back to normal. But what if it's your coworker sitting right next to you and all day long you're turning on those chemicals because they're pushing all your emotional buttons? When you turn on the stress response and you can't turn it off, now you're headed for disease because no organism in nature can live in emergency mode for that extended period of time. 95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions that function like a computer program. So then a person can say with their 5% of their conscious mind, I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, I want to be free. But the body's on a whole different program. A habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through repetition. So if you think about it, people wake up in the morning, they begin to think about their problems. Those problems are circuits of memories in the brain. Each one of those memories are connected to people and things at certain times and places. And if the brain is a record of the past, the moment they start their day, they're already thinking in the past. Each one of those memories has an emotion. Emotions are the end product of past experiences. So the moment they recall those memories of their problems, they all of a sudden feel unhappy, they feel sad, they feel pain. Now, how you think and how you feel creates your state of being. So the person's entire state of being when they start their day is in the past. So what does that mean? The familiar past will sooner or later be predictable future. If you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, and you can't think greater than how you feel, or feelings have become the means of thinking, by very definition of emotions, you're thinking in the past. And for the most part, you're going to keep creating the same life. So then people grab their cell phone, they check their WhatsApp, they check their texts, they check their emails, they check Facebook, they take a picture of their feet, they post it on Facebook, they tweet something, they do Instagram, they check the news, and now they feel really connected to everything that's known in their life. And then they go through a series of routine behaviors. They get out of bed on the same side, they go to the toilet, they get a cup of coffee, they take a shower, they get dressed, they drive to work the same way, they do the same things, they see the same people, they push the same emotional buttons, and that becomes the routine, and it becomes like a program. So now they've lost their free will to a program, and there's no unseen hand doing it to them. So when it comes time to change, the redundancy of that cycle becomes a subconscious program. Most people then wait for crisis or trauma or disease or diagnosis. They wait for loss, some tragedy to make up their mind to change. And my message is, why wait?
Okay, so this was a short version of Dr. Joe's view on how we can get stuck in our old patterns and how the traumas and the old way of thinking actually sits in the body and creates patterns and behaviors and thoughts, and we keep following the same pattern all the way through our life. And if we don't change, if we don't get bigger than our thoughts and our emotional patterns, then nothing will really change. And this has also impact on the disease in our body. So this is an explanation how the emotions can actually cause disease. So the thought begins and is an electrical impulse, which is basically sent through a neuron. And that action is transformed into a chemical message. So it goes from electrical impulse to a chemical, and then it's called a neurotransmitter. Then we start feeling the way we think. And this is the important part, because we just become the program, and our body has got all these chemicals. And then these chemicals go into the cells, causing a epigenetic effect, and it can activate the bad genes in our body. And it basically notifies the DNA to change its behavior or function to alarm the rest of the body. So this is how it all starts with a thought. So poor emotional health actually weakens our immune system, and there are a lot of potential issues that can result. So from simple colds and infections, going through back pains, appetite, problems with digestions, chronic fatigue, headaches, hypertension, upset stomach, shortness of breath, sexual problems, heart palpitations, or trouble sleeping. 40% of the people who responded to my survey actually said they struggle with sleep. And a lot of these problems have got their source in our thinking and emotions, and we just can't switch off the thoughts. And this is a problem for about 40% of people who just can't fall asleep. So what's the link between the chemicals and the information in the body, the electrical impulse? So chemicals are actually it's information and frequency. Like Albert Einstein, he said the future of medicine is actually frequency, because what we actually are is what Einstein discovered in the quantum physics, is that we are basically made of biophotons, which are particles of light, which create a web of light that connects all the cells, tissues, organs, and creates the biofield. The biophotons have no mass, and they basically transmit information between the cells. So biophotons are stored in each organ and give the organ its unique frequency. And each organ has got different frequency signature and different electromagnetic field and vibration. So this is very interesting, because each thought and each emotion that we create actually has got different frequency. So if we start from the bottom, like the worst possible emotions, which have got very negative impact on our body, are actually guilt and shame. They vibrate at very low frequency, about 20-30 hertz. And then we go higher up the scale through apathy, grief. Fear is also very, very low. And especially these days, what's happening in the world, we notice there's a lot of fear around, and that lowers the frequency of people around. As we go up the scale, we've got boldness, neutrality, adoption, mind, love, joy. Love frequency is about 500 hertz, which is very high. Then we've got joy, harmony, and enlightenment. Enlightenment is something that Buddha or Jesus experienced, and some of us potentially will as well. But even if we get to joy, harmony, it's still pretty good. So everything is energy. And this is something that, well, Einstein said, it's not a philosophy, it's physics. If you match the frequency with the reality you want, you will achieve this. So Albert Einstein has been, he was a very, very incredible physicist, the best in the 20th century. And he created a real breakthrough in the physics, in the world of physics, because before it was all about matter. Everything is matter, Newtonian physics, gravity, and everything was very simple. And a lot of things actually couldn't be explained, but Einstein came from a completely different point of view. So if we look at the matter, like it's not actually matter, because if you go down to the smallest particle, the atom is 99.9999999% empty space. So if you look at if you put the whole human race and remove the empty space from the atoms of all people, you would fit them in a sugar cube. And this is mind-blowing. But this is how much matter actually is out there. So you've got the nucleus, and then you've got the photons, the electrons which technically have no volume, and they are everywhere at the same time. So why does everything feel solid? So space is basically full of wave functions and an invisible quantum field, like a rotating fan. So it feels solid, but it's not. If you turn off the fan, you can see that it's empty in between. So the electrons are just point sources and they have absolutely no volume. And when you touch something, what you actually feel is the electromagnetic force pushing away the electron. So listen to this. You're not actually sitting on the sofa or in the chair now. You are hovering slightly above it. This is mind-blowing, but we're not actually touching anything. We're touching the field. So quantum physics explained in simple words. It's the fundamental conclusion of the new physics is it also acknowledges that the observer creates the reality. So these were the experiments they were doing, is how the atom behaves depending on the observer. And the significance of this information for us is to realize that we are all energy. We're radiating our own unique energy signature. So feelings, thoughts, emotions play a vital role, and quantum physics helps us to see the significance of how we all feel. It's very interesting because it's all about physics, but it's also about thoughts and emotions. So if all of us are in a peaceful, loving state inside, it will no doubt impact the external world around us and also influence how other people feel. So each person's electromagnetic field can cause another person's field to expand or contract. And anybody coming within the sphere of another person's energy field will be affected by the positive or negative energy in the field. So you probably had the experience when somebody walks into the room and you feel their energy. So they might have amazing charisma, they're very positive, and they are impacting you in a very positive way. And the same happens with these energy vampires. They walk into the room, or you might know people like that in your family or friends or even a partner, and they just suck the energy out of you and you lose the will to live. So this is exactly how it works. Or when you meet somebody and like within the first minute you just like get on with them and you feel really good around them because you can touch their field, the electromagnetic field around them. And if it's synchronized with yours, you just feel this connection. And with some other people, you might never ever click. And you just feel like, I just don't get on with them. We might have the same interest and, a lot in common, but I just don't get on with them. So this is explanation of this, how we feel instantly when we meet people. And different emotions have got different size and strength of energy field as well. So the field of fear is smaller than the field of harmony and love and connectedness, for example. So collectively, there's over 7, almost 8 billion people in the world. So every human being has actually got an impact on the field of other people and collectively on the Earth's geomagnetic field, which might sound weird to a lot of people, but I want to show you a study which was done over 2 years. And it's basically, it's called the Lebanon Peace Project. And what they were doing is they had a group of meditators and they put them in the room and they created the coherence. And these meditators were meditating on peace. And what happened was that the higher the group, the bigger the effect. So the coherence between the meditators was higher and the impact was higher. So this experiment lasted 2 years and it actually led to very significant results. So for example, the war deaths dropped the higher the group. So the war-related fatalities decreased by 71%, injuries fell by 68%, the level of conflict dropped, the cooperation also increased. So it's mind-blowing. And there have been a lot of other experiments like this, and showing how our coherence and working in a group can actually impact the reality around us. And this is another very interesting thing that happened during 9/11. As you are aware, the Earth has got its own magnetic field, which is being measured every day in various points of the planet. And on 9/11, during what happened with the attacks, because a lot of people were in a very coherent state, they were praying, they were meditating for peace, you can see what happened on that day, and the coherence increased, and the Earth geomagnetic field actually increased, which is mind-blowing. So if you look at the heart, it's actually it's got the most the strongest electromagnetic field of all the organs. So it generates over 50,000 femtoteslas of energy compared to the brain, which only emits 10. And the heart has got its own complex nervous system. It's called the heart-brain. So what is the heart-brain coherence that I was talking about during these experiments? And this is something that I experienced myself during the coherence healing session in Dr. Joe Dispenza's event in Dubai this year, when 1,500 people were synchronized and they were doing energy healing on people, and I could feel it. It was absolutely electric, like mind-blowing. It's very difficult to find words for it, but I will explain to you in like the physics sense. So when we experience negative emotions, such as stress, fear, worry, anger, our heart's electromagnetic field actually becomes very wobbly and chaotic, and we cannot think clearly. So when we are in this stress and worry response, we just cannot think. We can't come up with solutions and make good decisions. But when our emotions and mind are brought into coherent alignment with the heart, our brain and heart are actually operating in a very synergetic way. And in that state, we can make better choices. And our heart actually has a network of 40,000 neurons called the sensory neurites, which provide a direct line of communication to the brain. And the heart actually sends more information to the brain than the other way around. And so these are the frequencies of the human body. For example, between 62 and 78 megahertz is the healthy human body. It's the vibrations that we produce. If we are in a state of imbalance, if we are unhealthy, if we have a disease, it's dropping to less than 59 megahertz. And a dying human body has got vibration less than 25 megahertz. And what is interesting, for example, essential oils can help you increase the frequency. So this is just one example. I will talk to you about other ways of raising your frequency. But essential oils is something that works incredibly well. I've been using aromatherapy for a long time, and it not only makes you feel good, but it actually has a physical effect on your energy field. So if you look at the electromagnetic radiation spectrum, this is a little bit more scientific. If you look at the visible light, what we actually see with our own eye, you can see here, it's a very, very narrow spectrum of visible wavelengths, which is basically between 440 and 700 nanometers, which is tiny compared to the whole spectrum of what actually exists in the quantum field. So we're talking about all radio waves, going through like MRI. Then we've got Wi-Fi routers, we've got radars, we've got mobile phones, we've got microwave ovens. Then we're going more to like infrared, night vision, stuff like that, which are all non-ionizing radiation spectrum. And then we're going more into the ionizing radiation, which is very damaging for our DNA, which is gamma rays and X-rays. So I know that a lot of people think that the non-ionizing radiation actually doesn't cause any harm to the body, but I'm going to explain to you how it does. And I've studied it extensively now. And there's a lot of talk about the 5G and all the towers and stuff like that, and how it can actually impact our body. And now there is proof that it can. So if you look at where the electromagnetic fields actually are coming from in our environment, it can be created naturally by the moon, thunderstorm, by our heart, by the ocean, or they can be man-made. So, for example, any electrical and electronic equipment in the house, which I will go more into detail later. So there are many industries and special interest groups associated with these technologies, which really want us to believe that it's safe. And now there's a lot of actually research being done in connection to EMFs and what diseases these frequencies can cause to humans. So I have done some research and looked at the studies which look at the negative effect, and I was shocked. The wireless industry wants you to believe that EMF is not harmful, but this is not true. So these are just some of the studies that I have found. There are literally hundreds. So there's been studies on the Wi-Fi impact on human health, and there's negative impact. Mobile phone use and glioma risk, which is a very bad, basically brain tumor, glioma. It's very, very aggressive, and there is a link between mobile phone use and brain cancer. Then fertility in men, reproductive system, another study, our antioxidant defense system, brain function, it has negative effect, memory performance. It basically, it goes on and on and on. And it also affects the hormone levels. And there's been a lot of studies done also on rats, not only on humans. So the way the non-ionizing, which is like indirect ionization, the impact it has on the body is basically slightly different than ionizing radiation, which causes direct DNA damage. The chemical process is more to do with the calcium that enters our cells, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there is a ton of research about how it can damage our DNA. So just to give you a couple of examples about can we actually trust the industry and what they tell us, and can we trust the governments that are supposed to protect us? So you can see that smoking was actually encouraged, and even though there were tons of studies at that time showing that it causes lung cancer, it was still allowed, and the governments did nothing about it because they were lobbied by the industry. The same with asbestos. Asbestos was the magic mineral which is protecting the buildings, and the fire won't hurt it, and the time won't harm it, and the water won't damage it, and the vermin won't touch it. And there were adverts all over the place showing how amazing it is. Or there's another example here: start your baby drinking cola earlier, so it will have a better start in life. And these are all adverts that were absolutely legal, even though there was a lot of data already. And this is a very interesting one. I don't know how many of you heard about this. This is called a fluoroscope, which was basically an X-ray machine used by the shoe industry. So they were X-raying your feet and then giving you a certificate and showing you how they match the shoe to, you have a perfectly matched shoe basically to your foot. And they started using it in the 20s. And in the late 30s, 40s, they already knew that X-ray radiation was causing cancer. But these machines were used until the 1970s, believe it or not. So for 50 years, so 20, 30 years after it was very clear that X-ray is causing cancer, they were still using it. And the industry was saying there's nothing wrong with it. And so was the government. So this is just to show the point that if the government tells you, no, 5G is safe, EMF is safe, your router is safe, your phone is safe, you just need to do your own research and ask some questions because they might be wrong. So the sources of electromagnetic fields in the home are, the worst ones are probably microwave ovens, which I hope none of you is using anymore, because it's been known for a long time now that they have very bad effect on our bodies, on our brains. Mobiles, laptops, tablets, anything like that, any Wi-Fi routers, cordless phones as well. If you can go back to a old-fashioned phone with a cord, it's so much better. But also Bluetooth devices. So a lot of people use these Bluetooth headphones because they are so easy to use, or AirPods, fitness trackers, watches, wireless mouse, printers, baby monitors. These baby monitors are actually not safe for the babies. Hearing aid speakers, gaming consoles, controllers, loads of things, smart meters, and pretty much any smart TV. So what can we do about this EMF, which is basically around us all the time? So there are simple steps we can take to reduce the impact. We will never get rid of it 100%, but we can be responsible and reduce it to the minimum. So you probably haven't read your instructions for your mobile phone, but it actually says there that you cannot hold it next to your brain, next to your ear, because it causes brain cancer. And you have to hold it away from the body. So use earphones or put it on loudspeaker, and don't hold it close to your head. If you have 4G on your phone, or maybe even 5G, but depending where you are, switch it back to 3G. It's good enough for all the things that we are doing these days on the phone. The radiation, I've got an EMF tester, and it actually is like 200 times higher for 4G compared to 3G, and 3G is good enough. For computers in the office or in your house, if you can, use proper Ethernet cables rather than using Wi-Fi routers. And at least at night, turn off your Wi-Fi router. You don't need it. So at least you get that 8-hour break from the radiation. Never take your phone to the bedroom, and disconnect the smart devices when you're not using them, and disconnect Bluetooth as well. If you have these fitness trackers and watches, you can disconnect the Bluetooth, so it's not always searching for signal. Another interesting thing I wanted to cover, which is actually a science now, because a lot of people were thinking, oh, what is this grounding and walking barefoot on the earth, and what does it actually do? It's only for hippies. But now is the whole science of basically exchanging electrons and ions with the earth. So the research suggests that the negative ions from the nature play a very, very big role in the feel-good vibes in our nervous system. There have been a lot of double-blind studies which show that earthing activates our parasympathetic nervous system and enhances relaxation. And another 2004 pilot study resulted in cortisol levels actually dropping. So it's good for inflammation. You can see the picture here. This is after 2 hours of grounding. You can see the level of inflammation in the body actually going down. And it boosts the antioxidant effects, kills free radicals, fights all the dead cancer cells, improves our circulation, blood flow, and also oxygenation of the cells. It reduces stress, promotes faster muscle recovery for those who are exercising, and balances cortisol levels, regulates hormones, improves sleeps actually, and yeah, it lowers blood pressure as well. So yeah, walk barefoot as much as you can. And just going back to the walking barefoot, because I know a lot of people asked me, is it okay to walk on the tiles or concrete, or does it have to be like water or sand or grass or stone? So basically the answer is, if you are walking on tiles, which you have, for example, on your patio, if there is no insulation between the concrete, the earth, and the tiles, then normally you are grounded as well. If the tiles are, for example, like with glass or some sort of, if there's like a wooden insulation, then the wood or the plastic or the glass is gonna stop the effect of grounding. But the best way is to have direct contact with the earth. So if you can walk on the grass, on the sand, or on the beach, that's the best. And do it as much as you can. And another thing that has got huge impact on how we feel, our thoughts and our emotions and our health is actually the place. Because the place can make you ill, or it can make you well. So imagine just the view from your window, the noises, the air, the smell, the sounds, the vibe, the energy. It has a massive effect on how we feel internally. And a lot of people are particularly prone to feeling the picking up the vibes. So if you live in a big city, that might be one of the reasons you might feeling stressed, because you are picking up all this energy. And also another thing is actual the sun and the light that we are exposed to, and the weather, the wind, the rain, how much light there is. And a lot of people have actually immigrated, and they moved to warmer countries because of the seasonal affective disorder, which affects a lot of people. So for those of you who live in the Northern Europe, you are familiar with the lack of light and how it makes you feel. It's like lethargy, you feel very apathetic or irritable, you're overeating, you're craving carbs and lots of sweets. You might feel very tired all the time, and to the point where you don't actually want to see people, or you go into depression for a few months. So this has a huge impact on our emotions and thoughts and how we feel. And there are things you can do. Of course, you can move to a warmer, sunnier climate. But if you can't do that, then you can do the light therapy. You can go outside more, sit by the window, for example, and use more natural light. You can eat more like well-balanced diet, which will help with this, and do a lot more physical activity, especially outside, and work on different relaxation techniques. So talking about the food, and for example, if you look at the electromagnetic field that we get from what we eat, this is a photo of the biophotons of actually the electromagnetic field of cooked and raw vegetables. So you can see on the right how it radiates, and it has got a lot more energy that it can give us. So eat as many raw foods as you can and integrate them into your daily diet. It's very, very important. You don't need to eat like 100% raw. you can still cook your foods, but make sure you eat raw foods every day. Something that I'm very passionate about is actually binaural tones. I've written some articles for the newspapers about this. I can send you in the link after the webinar. But this is something that works amazingly for me. So for those of you who are not familiar with the brainwave functions and brainwave entrainment, what it is basically, there are 5 different brainwave patterns. And depending on what state we're in, this is the frequency of our brainwaves. And we can change them. So there are various ways. We can do meditation, we can listen to music. I will talk about other methods, but this is a very simple one, which literally works within 8 minutes. So, for example, I will just tell you briefly what the states are. So delta state is up to 4 hertz, and this is for deep sleep. It's your unconscious mind, and basically it's, when you are not conscious. Theta is between 4 and 7 hertz, and then you are in very deep relaxation. You could be in the rapid eye movement phase of your sleep. You are in meditation, and it can also happen like before going to sleep. Then alpha is more awake but resting, and it's stress relief. It's a very positive state, and it's very good for learning and for like mental motivation. And then we go into beta, which is basically a default state for most of us, most of the day. And it's basically the state that we're in all the time, which is very alert. And it's not very good for relaxation. And sometimes if we stay too long in that state, then we become very stressed. And then we've got gamma, and there's a lot of new discoveries now going on about this state, but it's basically like heightened awareness state. And so with the binaural beats, what basically happens is you can use an app or song that has got different frequencies in each ear. And the difference between the amplitude in one ear and the other ear basically creates the third wave, that your brain will recognize. And it's like an auditory illusion, and it's known as binaural beat. So if, for example, the difference is 10 hertz, then you know you're going to be in alpha. So for learning, for creative writing, for problem solving, for working, for concentration in general, the alpha state is amazing. So on my own example, for example, when I was writing articles for the newspaper, normally it would take me like 4 or 5 hours to write something. But when I started using binaural beats, within an hour and a half, I had it all done. I was so focused. There was no interruption. I didn't feel like, oh, I need a cup of tea or I need to go to the toilet. And no, you just literally focused and you are in the zone. And you can learn much faster. So for learning languages, I was using this for learning Spanish, and it worked very well. So there are various apps that I can recommend. I can send to you if you want after. And it's very fast because you can use it just using your phone. Just don't use Bluetooth earphones, use the old-fashioned ones. And you can be in the zone, and you can use this for meditation as well and for sleeping. So if you are struggling with falling asleep, you put some delta, theta brainwaves, and you will fall asleep much faster. So there's a lot of science behind this, and there's a lot of research that you can actually read. So this is some I love this quote from Nikola Tesla. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. I want to show you a quick experiment. It's called the cymatics, and it basically shows you how the energy impacts matter and reality. So I will play this. It's only 1 minute. These are the different frequencies. And the higher the frequency, the more complex the the pattern. So basically this experiment shows how different frequencies create different patterns and they actually impact matter. And I wanted to show you this video because another very good method of raising your frequency and feeling good and having positive thoughts is actually sound therapy and music. And I have done this myself several times. And, you know, it could be biotuning forks, it could be hand pans, it could be various like Tibetan bowls and stuff like that. Or it could be therapeutic music. And it has incredible results on, you know, the way we feel. I would highly recommend this. This is something that I find very, very interesting, and it's the anatomy of the biofield. And for example, we have a lot of traumas from the past, from childhood, and the traumas are actually stored in our bodies, and they're stored in the electromagnetic field. And depending what the issue is, so for example, you know, for people who are always overdoing, overthinking, you know, the busyness, it gives a lot of problems in like the lower back, or people with frustration or disappointment have got more problems on the right side of the body, sorry, on the left side of the body. When you feel guilt and shame, you know, it's somewhere else in the body. And very often these negative energies and traumas are stuck in the body, and we need to get rid of them. And sound therapy is something that can help with this. This is something that I have tried myself as well. It's called solfeggio frequencies, which are basically believed to like profoundly affect the conscious and subconscious mind in order to stimulate healing and promote vitality. So they have different frequencies depending what you are trying to achieve. So for example, if you are feeling fearful or guilty, you know, you use the 396 hertz, and then it goes up to like more spiritual experiences to 852 hertz. So I would recommend, you can find this on YouTube or on Spotify. And so now I want to share with you some more of the practical tips, and a lot of it is from my own experience. So basically, all the negative things that I will tell you to avoid now, I have been there myself. So I learned the hard way. So very important thing is avoiding negative people who are stealing your energy and who are making you feel bad. Another thing is constant use of technology. So always being around your computer, around your phone and checking it, and not actually being able to connect with yourself and with the nature. And this has got a very bad impact on the brain patterns. Dwelling on negative emotions. So for example, saying, oh, I should have done that, I should have said that, or why didn't I, because why did he say that? And dwelling on something that already happened. It's like, okay, it's gone, forget about it, don't think about it, just move on. Eating dead processed food, and believe me, I was the perfect example of somebody who was eating the dead processed food. I was a proper junk food eater for many, many years, until I was probably 34. And all the things that were bad for me, basically, I was eating, and I felt really bad. And I felt brain fog, I felt very irritable. So if you eat these processed foods, it's just not going to make you feel good. It's not going to raise your vibrations. And taking synthetic medication. So this is something that lowers your frequency as well. So what should we do more of? Visualize. This is something that I'm very passionate about because I have actually done this myself. So the visualization, if you want to heal, for example, you are visualizing yourself that you are already healed. And this is one of the teachings of Dr. Joe Dispenza. When you visualize, you actually have to feel this. Yeah. So for example, you might visualize achieving certain income, or something that I did myself years ago was achieving financial freedom. So I was visualizing myself and knowing exactly where I'm going to be, how I'm going to feel, you know, the amount of money I needed every month, and how it's going to feel. And I was doing that every single day for 90 days and visualizing the outcome like it's already happened. And within a year, it happened. So it does work. Playing uplifting music, I can't emphasize enough how important music and vibrations are. Singing, and I know a lot of you will say, oh, I can't sing, but it does not matter. If you can talk, you can sing. And chanting is another good way of actually balancing your energy. And you can see a lot of monks and people doing the chanting, and even saying the simple word Om. If you do that, you are balancing all your energy points. And dancing is absolutely incredible for the mind and for the body. And do it as much as you can. Dance in front of the mirror, around the table, on the terrace, wherever you can, and just play music that makes you feel good, because the physiology of your body will change the chemicals. Because as I said, the heart and the body actually sends more signals to the brain than the other way around. So the physiology will impact the way you feel and will impact your thoughts. Spend more time in nature. And this is important because of the energy you pick up from the nature. If you live in cities, then it's especially very important on the weekend. Escape from the city and go to the nature. Walk barefoot and spend time with your loved ones. Have contact with animals. Even your animals, your cats and dogs can teach you how to be present and how to be calm. Movement, exercise, absolutely essential. Every day you need to raise your heartbeat for at least 30 minutes. Go around 135 beats or more for half an hour, and then it will help with your lymphatic system. You will release the toxins and you're going to feel so much better. And sun exposure, very, very important. And don't put any chemical creams on your skin, because that can actually cause skin cancer. More things. Alcohol, another thing that I was very bad with when I was stressed. It was almost like escapism. I thought, oh, I'll have a glass of wine. It's going to make me feel better after a stressful day in work. But in the long term, it actually does the opposite. As I said, spending all week in cities, try to escape as much as you can. Sitting all day, remember to move at least once an hour. If you have a sitting job, go for a little walk at least once an hour and move. Or go to the bathroom in the office and do a few sit-ups, jumping jacks. Just move your lymphatic system. And don't overanalyze everything. And I'm talking from my own experience. I always had the tendency to overanalyze, overthink, and not listen to my intuition. And it's not actually good. If your intuition is telling you something, if you're getting signs, you know what you should do or follow this path or that path, just do it. And yeah, working with no breaks. So make time for things that you really enjoy and schedule them in your diary. It's very important, because if you don't make the time, if they're not in the diary, it's probably not going to happen. And you're going to just work and do things that you don't necessarily enjoy. Another thing that I enjoy is not just the essential oils, but incenses and actually burning things. The smells have got special frequency and they make you feel really good, and they are very, very relaxing. Having a massage occasionally is very, very good for our mind and body. And as I said, listening to our intuition more. And another thing very good, if we are feeling anxious or depressed, or if we've got negative thoughts, is writing a journal. So on one hand, writing down the things you are grateful for. So every day, write 3 things that you are grateful for. It could be something very, very small, like a very nice cup of tea, or your dog, or your partner, or your child, or it could be anything, or the feeling the wind in your face, or the sun. It could be something very, very subtle. But the thing with gratitude journal is not enough to write it, because a lot of people write it, but they don't feel it. If you don't feel it, if it doesn't go into your body, then it's not going to work. You can write it for the rest of your life and you're not going to feel better. So when you think of the thing that makes you feel grateful, feel it in your heart and really connect and think why and how it makes you feel good, and really feel it. So do that every day. And another thing, if we have very negative thoughts and if we are feeling depressed, it's also writing it down and getting rid of it from our head and putting it on paper. It's probably better to use paper than a computer for this, because there's something psychological about it. So write down any negative thoughts, or if you've got busy schedules, to-do list, write it down, get it out of your head, especially before going to bed, because otherwise you will never sleep. Another thing which I'm very, very passionate about is meditation. And there is tons of science now behind this. And the American Army uses meditation for their soldiers. And this is something that has been used for thousands of years. And now we can actually prove what effects it has on our brain, on the gray matter, how we actually improve the ability of the brain to change and develop, the heart, how it can stimulate like formation of nitric oxide, for example, and which causes the blood vessels to dilate, and it increases the blood flow throughout the body. Another thing is telomeres. This is something that the people who live the longest have in common. They all have very long telomeres, which is basically like the end of the chromosome. And the longer the telomeres, the longer the lifespan. And it's as simple as that. And as we age, they're getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So you can extend them by meditation. You can also suppress over 1,000 stress-related genes linked to things like inflammation, hypertension, asthma, diabetes, Alzheimer, chronic pain, and accelerated aging. Meditation also boosts your immune system by stimulating weaker secretion of adrenaline and cortisol, and allows our immune cells to remain more active and fight illness and infections. And yes, it reduces inflammation and any chronic diseases linked to inflammation. And when you do meditation, you need to basically tell your body just to sit still and wait, because it will tell you, no, I can't do this, I'll feel uncomfortable, I can't stop my thinking, oh, I need to go to the toilet, I need to move. So you're just telling it, just stay like a dog. I will feed you later. I will give you anything you want, but now the mind is the boss. It's not the body. So this is the thing you need to do. You need to overcome the resistance. And this is true with all the changes that you're going to make. Your body and your mind is going to tell you, this is uncomfortable. I don't like this. This is not certain. I don't feel good. I've never done this. But you just need to overcome this resistance and stick with it. Stick with it for 21 days until you make more neuron connections, and then you will see how much easier it gets. So just be patient and be gentle with yourself, but also be disciplined and stick with the process. So whatever you commit to doing, just overcome the resistance. Another thing is actually our environment and how it affects our emotions. And if we don't change this, we're probably not going to be able to change our emotions easily. So if you are in a toxic relationship, if you have negative friends or family members around you who are dragging you down every day, if you have a job that you don't like or a boss that is not appreciating you and making you feel bad, or if you are doing work which you don't agree with, you're doing it just to make money, but you don't actually agree with what they're making you to do, it can make you feel very bad. Or another very important thing is a lot of us don't set our boundaries with people, and this is absolutely important. You need to know where your boundaries are and tell people. So even Gandhi said, like, I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet. So work on that. And forgiveness, something that will actually set you free. If you haven't forgiven somebody from the past, it could be 20, 30 years ago, or it could be recent. If you still hang on to this feeling of bitterness and anger, you actually just in your own prison. You're not hurting that person because they don't even know how you feel. So this is your own prison. And once you've forgiven, you will see that things will really change, because this lack of forgiveness is sitting inside our body and in our field, and it's affecting us physically and mentally. And if we don't forgive, we can't move on. So this is something that I have experienced myself, and my life changed after that. And this is something that is very interesting. Some of you might be familiar with the vagus nerve. It's basically the cranial nerve X, it's called. And it's largely responsible for the mind-body connection because it goes to all the major organs. And the vagus nerve is the body's major parasympathetic nerve, and it helps you relax. So, and 80% of the nerve fibers actually go from body to the brain. So most of the communication traveling through the vagus nerve is body-mind, it's not mind-body. So what impact does it actually have on us? We can use deep and slow breathing to activate the vagus nerve, which will then activate our parasympathetic nervous system and help us relax. So breathing is a very, very easy way to stimulate it. And it's been shown to reduce anxiety and increase the parasympathetic nervous system. So most people breathe about 10 to 14 breaths a minute. But if you slow it down consciously to 6 per minute, it's a very, very good way to relieve stress. And you should breathe in deeply from your diaphragm. And when you do this, your stomach should expand. So you exhale in a very, very slow and long manner. And this is the key to stimulating the vagus nerve and reaching the state of relaxation. So this is why the breathing also in yoga helps so much to feel good. And the last thing, which is very important, especially now during these crazy times, I don't even want to go there or talk about this, but socializing, physical contact with people and laughter is absolutely key. This is what we are designed to do. We are social animals. We have been designed to live in a community with people, to have physical contact, to hug, to touch, to laugh. And it's absolutely essential to maintain doing this because without this, we just cannot lift our vibrations. We can't, if you are feeling lonely, make sure that you find a circle of people who are on the same wavelength and who you feel good with and spend time with them. So, and laugh, because laughter actually decreases stress hormones. It increases your immunity. it lowers cholesterol, believe it or not, and blood pressure, and it also decreases hunger hormones. So if you're trying to lose weight, you need to laugh more, and it helps you to feel good. So this is my part of the presentation, and I will stop sharing the screen now. And you can now go off mute, and I will see what questions we have on the chat. Let's see, amazing, really interesting, so true, body connection. Okay, great. So you are welcome to write questions on the chat, or you can actually go on camera and off mute and ask the question yourself. So let's see. We've got a question here about ayahuasca, actually. Can ayahuasca help in the mind-body connection? This is a very interesting question, actually, because I have got experience with that. I have done it, and I must say that it's absolutely, it can be life-changing. If you have got traumas, and if you have got a lot of negative emotions or things that you're unsure about, like in your body and in your mind, ayahuasca can help you discover what it is, where it is, and then work on that. So it can be a fantastic way of like psychoanalysis. It's almost like hypnosis. You can go back to the past and to your childhood and then understand certain traumas or why you overreact, why you get over emotional about certain things. It will help you understand it. It's a plant medicine that has been used for thousands and thousands of years, and it's very effective. But you need to be ready for it. So thank you for this question. Let's see. What else have we got? I love the work of Joe Dispenza. Very informative. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, which techniques have you used? You can write it in chat, or you can say in the camera. What techniques from the ones I've mentioned have you actually used, and what impact they had on your life? Did they work? And so please share it with others. Don't be shy. Come on.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go on, Renat. Yeah.
Well, I'm at the moment really addicted to Joe Dispenza, and I did buy a few of his meditations, and I'm using them daily. I do have I've been challenged. These past few months have been extremely challenging. And I don't know whether it is because what they say is you're staring in your pot and all the crap comes up. So that might be it. But I feel hugely better. It really helps me to remain calm and to not stay in the negative emotions. It is easier to get out of it because you still have them, but because still things happen and you get upset or whatever. But I then noticed that, I used to then have that it for days and weeks, it just keeps coming up, and then I wake up with that feeling. And at the moment that doesn't happen anymore. And I'm very convinced that is it. And I've been trying several things, but this is the one that at the moment I think is the one that sticks the best.
Yeah, it's so powerful. It's unbelievable. I can actually send everybody a link with the meditations, because they are very, very powerful. And like Dr. Joe Dispenza says, we are in the program. We're running off a program. 95% of our behavior and our thoughts are the same as the previous day. So if we don't get out of that pattern, nothing will change. Our health will not change. So if we want to get healthy, whether it's physically or emotionally, we need to feel healthy. And we can't think about our problems and our disease, and because we're going to get more of it. So these meditations actually, they make sense, what he's saying. We need to feel it. We need to get out of the program in the morning instead of going through, okay, I'm going to check my Facebook, I'm going to check my WhatsApp, I'm going to have a shower, I'm going to have coffee, I'm going to drive to work the same way. I'm going to walk to the shop the same way. No, do it differently. Take a different route, drive different way, listen to different music, do something different, sing a different song. And, you know, don't check your phone for the first half an hour when you wake up, because then it will remind you of all the bad things and problems, especially now, what's going on, and all the things like, oh my God, this is all beyond my control. And I feel really hopeless and helpless with everything. So yes, this is absolutely key. It's not to follow the same pattern every day and do something different. If you are not feeling how you want to feel, then it means you're doing something wrong. And you need to, if you know, you can't expect a different result if you're doing the same thing every day. So yeah, thanks for sharing, Renat, because the Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation is incredible, and he's got so many different ones, but I'm happy to share them. I can see Lucina said, yeah, Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation as well. Another thing, Lucina, meditation, breathing. Yes, breathing. I actually know one person who had very severe depression. She was suicidal, and she cured herself with just breathing exercises. No medication, no psychiatrist, nothing. She was just doing breathing. And at that time, I didn't really understand all this, but she just said, I'm just doing breathing every day. And I'm like, really? Are you crazy? Does it work? She's fine, you know, and it was as simple as that. And it was stimulating the vagus nerve and parasympathetic nervous system. Now I get it. But back then, a few years ago, for me, it was like, oh, you know, it's some witchy thing, you know, how does it work? Another thing somebody said, yeah, food. Food is something that raises our energy or reduces the energy. And if we don't look at that, then everything else is going to suffer. So the food and the emotional state is actually something that goes hand in hand, because also if we eat bad food, our microbiome is unhealthy, and then it affects our brain. So it puts us in a bad mood. So we need to control basically what we eat, because then it will control how we think and then how we feel. Another thing somebody mentioned, breathing, changing the environment. Lucina, yes, changing the environment is probably the biggest thing that anybody can do. And I know a lot of people here have already moved. They could be climate refugees or people looking for different energy in another country, whether it's the weather or whether it's just the energy of people and the place. And it has such a dramatic effect on how we feel. I would say it's probably one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves. If we are not feeling good somewhere, just get out of there and change the place and move somewhere else. I can see Mika nodding. Would you like to share something with us? You are on mute. I will unmute you.
Mute, yeah. I am doing meditation, of course, every day, but yeah, I find it difficult sometimes to go really, really deep. And I think it's to do with my breathing. But I still feel like a bit of, yeah, a sort of fight and flight in me.
Uh-huh. So what worked that you used so far? What was the most effective?
When I go on YouTube and I do guided meditations, that works for me the best, yeah. Because then I don't do so much anymore Joe Dispenza. I did it in the beginning, but now I look at the titles, like some subject, and I choose a subject, and then that's what I do. So it's like meditation on letting go or meditation on anxiety. I look that up on YouTube, and then comes a guided meditation up, and those are fantastic, I think.
Yeah. Follow your intuition. If something feels right,
I do. I do.
And listen to that. This is the best thing. And you might start with one thing and then end up with something completely different.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
But whatever works. But for example, the smells, the oils, the incense, the solfeggio sounds, the binaural tones, that can be all helpful as well with the meditation. So like adding all these things into it, or even doing it somewhere else, slightly changing the place or the view or whatever, or it can make all the difference.
I agree.
Yeah, but you're looking good, Mika. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you too. And it's very interesting. I like it. It's my stuff. I love it.
Yeah, no, fantastic. I can see Anne Koch has got a question. Anne,
yeah. So thank you for all, first of all, because I thought it's very interesting. I have actually some similar interests developed since maybe last year, also because I realize how much energy we are wasting when we're not living higher vibrations, right, and how we raise it. And so it's fascinating to hear some of newer things like the oil. I didn't know it's raising vibrations, but I like to put it, especially after yoga, to kind of keep it up. And this is the one thing I'm also doing. I think yoga is helping me the most to raise vibrations for some reason. I'm also eating raw food every day. I do quite a bit of also about the technology. I also am pretty receptive about it, and I realize that most people aren't, and I'm always like, no, I think I'm right. I better don't have my rocker on at night. So, but I did have a question on the cell phone. So if it's in maybe 4G mode, how would I find out? Do you know where I can find it in the settings, maybe?
Yeah, well, probably best, depending what phone you have. But you can just Google and change the network settings and, from the YouTube video, and you can change it from 4G to 3G, or in some phones, you can even go back to 2G. Not on the latest iPhones, probably. But yeah, don't have it on 4G because the radiation is crazy. When I did the experiment and I was holding it 2 meters away from my head, the signal was still there. So you can literally be so far away from the phone talking to somebody and it's still radiating. Wow. And with 3G, it wasn't so far. So you can literally hold your hand and you're pretty safe then.
Is it also if airplane mode is off? So is still the network is the 4G or 2G?
It depends on the phones, but usually when you put the airplane mode, so for example, if you are holding your phone in the pocket or something, you need to always have it in the airplane mode because it's not radiating so much. It might still radiate a little bit, but it's nowhere near as bad as when it's searching signal. And the worst time when it's radiating the most is when the signal is weak. So when you are in a weak signal area, your phone is going crazy. The antenna is searching for signal, and the radiation is so high, it's unbelievable. So when you are in a low signal area, then probably best idea to just turn it off to plane mode or completely, because it might be very harmful then.
Interesting. And so does the airplane, if the airplane mode is off, does the 3G or 4G even reach it? It does, right? Because for the Wi-Fi, or does it not reach it?
Yeah, when you put it on airplane mode, you can select the Wi-Fi on or off, yeah? But if you can select, turn off the GSM and the sort of mobile phone signal, yeah, itself from the antenna, but you can have just the Bluetooth on or just the Wi-Fi on, or you can have everything off. So it depends what settings you choose. But if you are going for a run, for example, and you're playing music and you have the phone on you, on the body, put it in an airplane mode so it doesn't have direct contact with the body. And for men especially, it's very bad when they have it in their pockets. They should never wear it if it's not in airplane mode or off in their body. It should be away from the body. And now you can buy these pockets for the phone which have got like a shield. It's called the EMF shield. You can buy them online, and you put your phone in there and it's cut off basically from the signal, so it's safe then, and you can buy them for like £10.
But if the airplane mode is off, does it mean that 3G or 4G doesn't reach it at all, right?
No, it shouldn't reach it, no. But some phones will still be looking for the signal a little bit, like iPhones are not completely off, but it's much, much lower, the radiation. It's not actually that dangerous then. But the aeroplane mode, if you have to have the phone in your bed as an alarm clock, for example, which I wouldn't recommend, or have it on the aeroplane mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. I turn it to airplane mode quite a bit because I don't want too much. Why would you want too much? So it's very easy. You swipe up and you hit the button. That's it. So
yeah, it's very, very quick now. And somebody's asking if the EMF dots that you stick on your phone actually work. I must say that I have bought them myself, and I've given them away to people as well to stick on the back of the phone. They work a little bit, like literally just within the sticker area, but normally they don't work that well. So you still cannot hold the phone next to your head, even though you've got 5 stickers on, because it's not going to protect you. And for children especially, it's really bad because children have very thin skull, and it goes through into the brain much faster. That's why children can get the brain tumor much faster than adults if they're using the phone next to their head. So if you know any children who are using the phone, tell them that it's very dangerous to keep it close to their head because their skull is very thin and it's not developed yet. Okay, do we have any more questions? We've got Wim Hof methods and cold showers. Yes, this is something that is pretty hardcore, and I must say that I haven't been able to do that yet myself, but I know the cold affects your parasympathetic nervous system in a very positive way. It can boost your immune system. It can actually fight infections and any diseases. Wim Hof actually injected himself with some virus, and he was doing these breathing exercises and with all the cold, and he didn't pick up the disease, which is absolutely phenomenal. And doctors still don't understand how it can be possible, but now he teaches other people through these breathing techniques to actually increase your immunity and the way you feel. So Wim Hof, he's called the Iceman. Look him up. A very interesting guy. What else have we got here? Yeah, no. So does anybody have any other like recommendations? Something that perhaps I haven't covered? Or something that you would like covered in more detail in the future, or any information links you would like me to send to you so you can explore a little bit more.
Yeah, I have something. Yeah, I do the Wim Hof breathing every morning. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
And I do the cold shower every morning, and I can tell you, if there is one thing fantastic, this is amazing. This changed my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing this. How do you cope with the cold temperature, and how cold is the water?
Yeah, cold. Just cold water from the tap. Ice cold. I mean, yeah. You first take a normal shower, and then you just put it on cold, turn it on cold, and have another go, and it's fantastic. And the breathing of Wim Hof is really fantastic. Mm-hmm. That's a life changer. Eh?
Yeah. Wow. I need to do that.
Yeah, you have to look at it. It's a real life changer. For me, it was anyway.
Yeah, I'm struggling with cold water and with cold in general, but it's something that I'm trying to overcome now.
You get resistance to cold. You get used to it. You really get used to it.
Yeah.
I do that twice a day.
Yeah, and it's like the cryotherapy. Even the Olympic athletes, rugby players, they all go into this cryogenic freezers and they stay there for a few minutes, or they go training in Poland in the snow on the beach, and it helps with the inflammation and healing and everything. I know the theory, but in practice, I haven't tested it myself. but I probably will one day.
Yeah. You will, I mean, it changed your mood as well in the morning. You're immediately awake and fresh.
You know what, Mika? I will try it tomorrow.
Okay. Okay.
I will, I promise. And I will report back to you.
Okay. And the breathing.
Yes, and I will have the app because he has an app.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and then we can have maybe other people want to join as well. Cindy, I can see you are waving.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
No. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to chat, but I don't know how to do it. They told me that shungite is good for the EMFs to protect yourself.
Yes, shungite is one of the stones which absorbs the electromagnetic frequency, and it's very good to wear it on your body or to have it on your laptop or next to your bed, or you can have it under the pillow. So it's or you can wear it in your just literally carry it in your pockets. I have got a handful of shungite stone in the house. I carry them in different places, but they've been shown and proven to have an effect, and I have done an experiment with them as well, and I put them on the phone when I was using the EMF tester, and it did reduce the radiation. It will not reduce it completely, but it does reduce it to a certain extent.
Okay.
Thank you for the question, Cindy. Any more suggestions from anyone? And what's the name of the stone? If I was asking, it's shungite. I wrote it. I probably misspelled it, but something like that. Shungite. Yeah, you can buy it online anywhere, and it's very nice, and it actually picks up the bad energy from other people as well. So if you are coming in contact with somebody with a very negative aura, it helps you like shield your energy from them. So if you carry it as a pendant or in your pocket, it helps with that. Any other suggestions from anybody? Anything that I perhaps haven't covered, or anything you would share with others, what works or what doesn't work? Symbols for EMF. Can hypnosis help raise a person's frequency? Absolutely. And the way the hypnosis works is actually because it helps you access certain states of minds that you would never state, and go into parts of your brains that you would never access normally. It can help you heal and get rid of traumas and any bad emotions. So hypnosis is something that is used very, very successfully. I actually have got a friend, and he does hypnosis, and he was on in our second webinar, I think. So I can send the link, but he does free hypnosis every Saturday, and it helps you like connect with yourself. His name is David. But you can also find hypnosis on YouTube and do it yourself with a headphone. Some of the hypnosis are used by neural tones as well. And it can be very effective for healing in general and raising vibration, your frequency, and feeling good in general. Symbols, quantum symbols. Yes, this is another very interesting question. And it's basically symbolism and like geometry of the universe. There's a lot of symbols which have got different frequencies and different vibrations. So for example, I will show you, this is one of them. This is the life, the flower of life. I don't know if you can see. It helps you feel grounded and connected. And there's a lot of different geometric patterns which vibrate at different frequencies, and you just need to like tune in to yourself and see what feels good. So for example, if you are going to do some crystal therapy and you go to pick up some crystals which all have got like unique biomagnetic signature, you just need to use your intuition. Whichever stone you are drawn into, you need to pick that one. So I remember when I started crystal therapy, and it was all like, oh, I need to read the science, which what vibration, what does it do exactly? And then I went to the shop and I was like, no, I want this one. So I completely ignored all the science, and the frequencies and vibration is whatever you are drawn into, you need to pick. So this is something that you just need to tune into to your own sort of intuition that will help you pick the right geometric pattern, pendant, or any symbol that that will help you with your particular intention that you have. Quantum shield sticker. I'm not familiar with these ones. I'm only familiar with the shield stickers for the phone, for the EMF radiation. So I'm not sure if this is the same one. Okay, so I think we've covered quite a lot today. I would like to say thank you to all of you for attending. And wow, Lucina, you've got a fantastic background behind you. Can you show us the sunset? Wow, beautiful on the beach. Incredible. Oh, and something like this, just tuning in to the nature, watching the sunset, the sunrise, walking barefoot on the beach. This could be a game changer for a lot of people. And as I said, the place makes you feel good or bad. So somebody has just said singing and dancing, uplifting music has definitely helped me. I've done a gratitude journal before, but I didn't stop to allow myself to really feel it. Yeah. So this is the mistake that I made myself, Maria, as well. So if you don't feel the gratitude, it's not going to work. And so, yeah, try it the other way and really feel it, and close your eyes and think about why you feel grateful for these things. And that will help you raise your frequency, not just writing mindlessly without actually feeling it, just with your brain. You need to use your heart. So thanks for sharing this. Okay, so thank you, everyone. And I hope you enjoyed and you learned something new. And I inspired you to do more research into new methods of raising your emotional frequency and your health, which will have direct impact on your body and on your reality. So I will share this recording with everybody. Feel free to send it to friends and family who you think might benefit from this. And I will see you on the next webinar.